Hi everyone, Simon Keeling here, Saturday the 22nd of December. Thanks again for watching weatherweb.net. Don't forget the sites get free of charge by the adverts you see around the screen. So when you see an advert that you like and you click on it, that's what generates revenue that keeps us free of charge. Of course, only click on the adverts if you actually want them. I'm just asking you to buy the products from us, not from another website. And also when you come back and you view the charts and you tell people about us on Twitter and on Facebook, that's what all generates revenue that keeps the site free of charge. So, now developments on the ECMWF. This is the 7 to 10 day mean of the ECMWF, and this runs through from next Saturday through to Tuesday the 1st, so this is through to New Year's Day. And you see here on the ECMWF got this deep trough look out towards the west of the country. The GFS has got it as well, just not quite so deep, but both of them have this area of lower than normal heights look moving off the coast of the eastern US. Now what they're signalling basically is that this flow coming across the Atlantic is essentially staying as quite a strong flow, although I think what we will find is the jet stream being further south than normal, and what that means is that we get cooler air across the UK, although not desperately cool, it's just cooler than normal. But the main feature is that it stays pretty unsettled right through with that jet stream in place. Now just want to take you through these charts as well. These actually are quite interesting. This is from the GFS ensemble. We've got the time of the charts are valid for here. So let's just come back to today, look, and what we have today is we've got this deep trough out in the Atlantic. We've got a ridge across most of Western Europe, and what's happening here is this ridge is just pumping warm air northwards all the time. It's building the heights in here, but the trough out towards the west, this trough axis, is deepening all the time, and it's that's sending low pressures eastwards, bringing the heavy periods of rain that we're seeing. Notice all this blocking up towards the north here, look, these higher than normal heights extending around the pole out into the Pacific. It's this that is essentially keeping the jet stream further south and is keeping all the really colder air at bay up here towards the north, and we're just stuck in these kind of cool, wet conditions. Now as we go through these charts, just notice how the trough swings eastwards, look, as we get in towards the Christmas period. That's Boxing Day. Now this one's an interesting one because this jet stream, look, comes straight across the Atlantic, straight through into the north of France. The UK firmly on the cold side of it by then, but this is driving low pressure systems eastwards. I think what we're going to find is a cooler day to come on Boxing Day, and certainly as we get into the 27th, then look, what we find is this deep trough just spins its way eastwards during the course of Thursday, taking cooler weather with it. By the end of next week, well, still stuck into this westerly flow, look, with the jet stream still in position. So certainly these unsettled conditions continue well into next week. And then going further ahead, well, an interesting development here that I just wanted to point out to you. Remember that we've been saying about it becoming cooler during the period probably about the 9th, 10th of January, or even cold. Now I'm not talking about Arctic cold, I'm talking about just cold. And it's quite interesting that the GFS ensemble here, yes, this is early, this is Wednesday the 2nd, but notice that ridge that's building out in the Atlantic and how it keeps that ridge in place, look, which would hint at pressure building up here by the time we're getting through towards the first weekend of the new year. And that ridge essentially is holding in place, look, until almost the end of the model run. So and then it's still getting this warm feed coming in, still pumping the ridge northwards, so still pumping in this area of high pressure. So are we actually seeing some signals from the model that actually we could see these cooler conditions starting to come in? It'll be interesting to see. This is how the CFS sees things. This is the CFS week 1 forecast from yesterday. So this is the 22nd to the 28th of December, and British Isles is under here. Look, you've kind of got to spin your head round for these, but what this shows is low than normal heights here towards the northwest of the country, higher than normal down to the south, and effectively what this does is it just blasts the jet stream in from the Atlantic, keeping us in this wet, unsettled pattern that we've got. Week 2 up to the 4th of January, similar, lower than normal heights to the north, higher than normal down to the south, a blast there off the jet stream. But interestingly, look, we've got higher than normal heights east of Greenland here, so what we would tend to find is the jet stream pattern here would probably do something like that, but we're still in fairly unsettled conditions. Week 3, so this takes us to 5th of January to the 11th of January, low than normal heights across the country. Jet stream will be coming across the Atlantic something like so. Again, cool, unsettled conditions, although Still higher than normal heights up here, look towards the north, so that high pressure could bring colder weather into Scotland. And then week 4, 12th to the 18th of January, still got this jet stream screaming around the sort of temperate latitudes, but look at the building heights up towards the north again, so high pressure getting in here, and I just feel that this is signalling the beginning of something cooler. Now what it could be is that the colder weather only really gets into Scotland, doesn't get much further south, but again I'm still holding on to this period of the 10th till about the 20th of January as being a colder spell for most of us. Okay, so of course we've got some wet weather to come, haven't we, in the next few days. This is the radar as of this morning from weatherweb.net. You can get it by going to weatherweb.net, click on radar at the top of the screen here, and then you'll get the radar picture like so. Here's the heavy rain, look, moving its way eastwards during the course of this morning. We've got some more rain now coming into the far southwest of the country. That's heading its way eastwards, and we've got to watch for that during the coming hours. Herland picks up on it quite well. Here's the heavy periods of rain, look, coming in towards the west. Here they go, heading eastwards during this morning. They're clearing away to the east, but then look, here is that more persistent rain again returning to the south and the west through this afternoon. And really it's not until overnight tonight that the rain gets away properly, but even then we find some more rain coming back onto southern coasts of the country later on in the night. Total precipitation for the next week, well, it's a wet one. You're not going to be surprised to know that. This is the rainfall going up to midnight on Sunday the 30th, and just look at these totals down here. 140 millimetres of rain across southern parts of Wales, 100 millimetres plus across western Scotland, and for most of the country, look here, we're seeing sort of 70 millimetres plus. It's this northeastern part of England that tends to be most protected, as is the northern coast of the Moray Firth, and basically what that's indicative of, isn't it, of these winds protecting conditions up there. So certainly some very wet weather to be found. ECMWF, no, we're not going to use that. We've already shown that, haven't we, today? Let's just get on to the GFS and see what happens through the stages of the GFS over the coming hours. Here's our heavy rain. This is the chart from 6 o'clock this morning. So here is the area of heavy rain that's moving its way northeastwards through the UK. There it goes, look, heading northeastwards. Here's the second batch coming into the south during tonight and into tomorrow, and you just see this area of rain, look, just lingering around across southern coast during the course of tomorrow. Quite breezy tomorrow as well. Into Monday, Christmas Eve, of course. Well, it looks as if what we're going to find is dry weather at first across northern areas of the country, but rain coming into the south. Look, here it comes on Christmas Eve, heading its way northwards through Christmas Eve, affecting much of southern and eastern England on Christmas Eve morning. That clears away, and then we get another area of rain coming into these western parts of the country during the latter part of the day. Although the good news is, particularly for those of you travelling, there's going to be no snow. And then through Christmas Day itself, well, rain moves eastwards overnight into Christmas Eve, and then what we find is a second area of low pressure swinging through during Christmas Day. Christmas Day itself, I think, is probably going to be one of sunshine and showers, most of the showers affecting western and southern parts of the country. Then through Boxing Day, low pressure firmly in control. Get an area of low pressure that sweeps its way eastwards through Boxing Day. Take some pretty heavy bursts of rain across England, Wales and Ireland, but cooler north to north westerly winds coming into Scotland, probably turning precipitation to snow over the Scottish mountains. Then we find low pressure clears into the North Sea, probably Thursday the coolest of the days. This northwesterly flow coming in, but you'll notice still, won't you? I just haven't mentioned the word frost because there's just not going to be any particularly. But then that northwesterly wind kicks in. It's a colder day, wintry showers towards the north and the east. A ridge of high pressure then building in late on Thursday. Now that ridge could bring a cooler night. It may bring a frosty night as well, although probably with cloud increasing in the west, I think it's probably only going to be parts of the Midlands and South East England as well as North East England that is there's risk of frost. Generally you can see just periods of rain spreading their way eastwards by the time we get through to Friday morning. Friday itself, pretty windy day, looks like most of the rain is out towards the west, and then that swings eastwards through Saturday, leaving us into an unsettled westerly flow as we head out into Saturday and into next Sunday, with the next area of low pressure, look here, just waiting to come across, bringing more hefty bursts of rain. And it's quite interesting on these charts, if you just notice, look further to the north here, we've got areas of low pressure, and what that signifies is this here is kind of the boundary of the really cold air. These areas of low pressure are in the main wintry cold air, whereas these areas of low pressure are in slightly milder conditions, which is why these are zipping across, bringing rain, bringing this temperature sort of 5 or 6 degrees, but there's just not a lot going on with them. Whereas these, as they zip across, are bringing snow to the Faroes, probably to Shetland as well, and rain, and then eventually snow across northern Scotland with much colder conditions up there. But the jet stream is through here, and that's what's meaning that sorry, the jet stream isn't there, is it? The jet stream is here, and that's essentially what's keeping us on the cooler side of conditions. But it's preventing this real cold stuff from getting south. I could go on about this for a very long time, but don't want to confuse you. But for now, don't forget, sites get free of charge with all the adverts you see around the screen. So by you coming back, using the site regularly, using the charts, that's what keeps us free of charge. But for now, keep the sun shining, and bye for now.